The sky over Red Canyon carried an eerie heaviness that morning, the kind that made even the bravest riders pause before stepping into the open. Rancher Luke Harland felt it the moment he pushed open the door of his cabin. The wind blew harder than usual, not with storm strength but with a strange, restless whisper, as if trying to deliver a message it didn't want to say aloud. Luke saddled his horse slowly, listening. Something had been wrong for days. Cattle refusing to graze near the northern edge, dogs barking at the empty ridge at night, and a constant feeling that someone or something was watching from a distance. When Luke rode into town, he found nearly half the population gathered near the path that led toward the forbidden northern ridge. No one ever went there, not anymore. After the accident 15 years ago, the townsfolk treated that ridge like it belonged to another world entirely. People avoided even looking in its direction. Yet today, everyone stood around it, talking in whispers, eyes full of unease. Sheriff Cole noticed Luke approaching and moved quickly toward him, blocking his horse with a firm hand. Cole had known Luke since childhood, and Luke had never seen fear in the sheriff's steady eyes until that moment. "Luke," he said quietly, barely above a whisper, "don't look there. I'm serious." "Stay back." Luke frowned. "What's going on?" "Nothing you need to worry about," Cole said sharply. "Just don't go near that ridge." But Luke was stubborn by nature, and the sheriff's fear only fed his curiosity. Ignoring the murmurs of the crowd, he pushed past Cole and swung off his horse. Several townspeople turned away, as if simply facing the ridge was dangerous. "Luke, don't look down there," someone shouted. But Luke stepped to the very edge and stared into the deep ravine below. Dust swirled upward in small spirals, clearing just enough for him to see something massive lying far beneath, a shape, half buried in shadow, unnatural and unmoving. His breath caught. The color drained from his face. Something about the shape pulled at him, like it had been waiting all along for someone to notice it. Gasps echoed behind him. The sheriff cursed under his breath. Luke didn't step back. He kept staring, unable to look away, feeling the world tilt slightly under his boots. In that single moment, everyone knew he had broken the unwritten law of Red Canyon, and whatever he saw down there had changed him in a way no one yet understood. By the time the sun climbed over the hills the next morning, the whole town was talking about only one thing. Luke Harland had looked into the ravine. It spread through Red Canyon like wildfire. In the saloon, the blacksmith shop, the general store, everyone whispered about what they thought he'd seen. Some swore it was an animal. Others insisted it was something far older, something connected to the stories their grandparents used to tell. Whatever it was, Luke wasn't explaining, and that silence made the rumor grow twice as fast. Luke's ranch hands watched him that morning with a mix of worry and dread. He didn't eat breakfast. He didn't talk. He only walked into the barn, lit a lantern, and began sorting through his equipment with sharp, focused movements. Ropes were coiled. Tools were sharpened. Old maps were dusted off. It was clear he was planning something serious. Charlie, his youngest ranch hand, finally spoke. "You're going back there, aren't you?" Luke didn't answer. He just checked the hinges of his saddlebag. His horse, Dustfire, shifted nervously every time Luke approached, as if sensing where its rider intended to go. The northern ridge had unsettled every animal in Red Canyon for weeks, but Luke acted as if the ridge itself had called his name. By nightfall, he was fully prepared. The moon rose as a pale slice above the desert, lighting his ranch in cold silver. Just as Luke tightened the final strap, Sheriff Cole arrived at the gate, his face grim. "You can't do this," the sheriff said. "You saw something down there." "I could tell by your face." "But Luke, whatever it was, it's buried for a reason." Luke remained calm, though something sharp flickered behind his eyes. "There's something alive in that ravine," he said quietly. "I heard it. It wasn't an echo. It wasn't my imagination." "That's impossible," Cole shot back. "Nothing's been alive down there since the slide." Luke looked toward the dark horizon. "I'm not leaving it." Those 4 words settled into Cole's mind like a weight. He knew there was no stopping Luke, not when he had that determined look. The sheriff grabbed the reins of Luke's horse one last time, but Dustfire reared slightly. Spooked, and Cole had to let go. Luke rode off into the night. By sunrise, When the town woke to the empty fields around Luke's ranch, panic spread. He had crossed the line that all of Red Canyon feared. He had gone down into the ravine, a place no one dared to enter, and now no one knew if he'd make it back. Luke Harland returned to Red Canyon just after noon, though no one recognized him at first. A wagon rolled behind his horse, its wheels grinding slowly over the dusty road. People watched from porches and shop windows, whispering to each other, afraid to approach. Luke looked exhausted, covered in dirt, clothes torn, eyes shadowed, with something that wasn't exactly fear but wasn't calm either. It was the look of a man who saw something he shouldn't have. Sheriff Cole pushed through the crowd as Luke stopped the wagon in the center of town. The sheriff's heart thudded painfully because he already suspected what Luke had done, and he prayed silently that he was wrong. "Luke," Cole said, voice low, "tell me you didn't bring anything out of that ravine." Luke dismounted without saying a word. His jaw was tight, his shoulders tense. He walked to the back of the wagon and pulled away a dusty canvas tarp. Gasps burst from the crowd, sharp, terrified, disbelieving. Inside the wagon lay a massive object caked in earth and age. It wasn't natural. It was carved, clearly carved, by hands that lived long before. Red Canyon even had a name. Strange symbols spiraled across its surface, twisting in patterns no one recognized. The object looked ancient, heavy, and powerful, like it carried centuries of silence within it. The townspeople backed away instantly. "You fool!" someone cried. "What have you done?" "Put it back, bury it." But Luke raised a hand. "It wasn't danger," he said firmly. "It wasn't a curse. It was calling for help. I heard it, and whatever was trapped down there didn't want to stay buried." The crowd erupted into chaos. Some shouted to destroy it. Some insisted the canyon would punish them for disturbing what lay beneath it. Others wanted Luke arrested for breaking the one rule everyone lived by. Sheriff Cole stepped forward, eyes locked on the object. He had spent his life keeping the town safe from outlaws and storms, but nothing had ever unsettled him like this. As he watched, dust shifted across the object's surface, and then, faintly, the carved symbols glimmered with a pale, pulsing light. The ground trembled, just enough to make everyone freeze. Buildings creaked. Horses cried out in alarm. A deep rumble rolled through the earth, like something waking from sleep. Cole looked at Luke with pure dread. "You didn't just bring something back," he whispered. "You woke it." And now, Red Canyon would have to face whatever Luke had uncovered. Something ancient, something forgotten, and something that had waited far too long.